Okay, welcome to the town board meeting, Thursday, August. I'm going backwards. August 17th, please rise and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Emergency exits are to my right, in back of the new attorney and town hall and town clerk, and also the door you came in. Roll, please.
Let the record be noted that Councilman Delango and Councilman Morris, Councilman Gutierrez, are both absent tonight. I have heard from Councilman Gutierrez, so I am aware of his absence. Councilman Morris?
Here.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Here.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Here. Make a motion to open the public hearing for Bel Air renewal of helipad permit.
I'll second it.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilwoman
Aye.
Doyle? And Supervisor Perotti?
Aye. Are there any comments regarding the helipad permit, Bel Air? Any from the town board? Okay, then I make a motion to close the public hearing.
All in favor?
I'll second it.
Jim second.
Aye.
Make a motion to return to regular meeting.
So for
I'll second that.
Doyle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, I think what we're going to do until the presentation gets set up is to go ahead and do the resolution for approving the application of Bel Air. The permit, resolution number.
29.
Approving application of Bel Air Farm Incorporated for renewal of an airfield permit. At a meeting of the town board of the town of Amenia held at the Amenia Town Hall on the 17th day of August 2017 at 7 p.m., Town Supervisor Victoria Perotti called the meeting to order. And I make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Move the following resolution to it, whereas local law number 5 of 2001 entitled Airfield Prohibition, as amended by local law number 2 of 2002, provided that certain pre-existing airfields may be continued in use on conditions set forth in sections 4 and 5 of the Airfield Prohibition Law, whereas by resolution number 22 of 2002, dated November 21st, 2002, the town board granted an airfield permit to Bel Air Farm, authorizing the continued use of the existing airfield on its property known as parcel 6967-00983-502, Bel Air Farm Road in the town of Amenia, New York. FAA National Flight Data Center Location Identifier NY46. Whereas by resolution number 39 of 2007, the town board granted the application for renewal of Bel Air's airfield permit, authorizing continued use of the facility for a term of 5 years, such term to expire on November 20th, 2012, subject to renewal as provided in the Airfield Prohibition Law. Whereas by resolution number 6 of 2012, the town board adopted local law number 1 of 2012, so as to amend the town code of the town of Amenia by adding section 121-46.1 entitled Airfield Prohibition. Whereas section 121-46.1 of the town code provides that as to existing airfields, an existing airfield may continue to be used after the effective date of this section if it complies with and meets the requirements of subsections C and D. Whereas by resolution number 35 of 2012, the town board granted the application of Bel Air Farm Incorporated for renewal of its airfield permit, authorizing the continued use of its helipad facility, said permit to expire on November 20th, 2017. Whereas Bel Air Farm Incorporated has timely submitted an application for renewal of its airfield permit in accordance with Town Code Section 121-46 .1 D2, namely within 6 months prior to expiration of its existing permit, and has attested by Angie Liu, President of Bel Air Farm Incorporated, in letter dated June 1st, 2017, that since the granting of the permit, Bel Air Farm Incorporated has operated the airfield in compliance with applicable rules and regulations of the town and any regulatory body having jurisdiction over such an airfield. Whereas the town attorney, Denise M. Fitzpatrick, has made inquiry to the New York State Department of Transportation Aviation Bureau, Albany, New York, on June 13, 2017, and has been advised that such aviation bureau is not aware of any noncompliance by Bel Air Farm Incorporated with applicable rules and regulations with respect to said helipad facility. Whereas the town attorney has made inquiry to the town's building inspector, code enforcement officer, on June 14, 2017, and has been advised that the town's CEO is not aware of any noncompliance by Bel Air Farm Incorporated with applicable rules and regulations. Whereas Bel Air Farm has provided to the town attorney, as part of its application for renewal of its airfield permit, its certificates of registration as a general aviation airport from the New York State Department of Transportation for the registration periods August 1st, 2014 to July 31st, 2017, and August 1st, 2017 to July 31st, 2020, together with a copy of a letter from with a copy of the letter from the Aviation Bureau of the New York State Department of Transportation, Albany, New York, dated, is this for the certificate?
Maybe July 20th? From Mark Christian,
July 20th.
Yes, July 20th.
2017.
Okay, July. And the letter
This is Mark
was
Christian's.
from Mark R. Christian, Christian, from Aviation Planning, New York State Department of Transportation. And that his title is Aviation Planning. Stating that Bel Air Farm Incorporated's application for registration and security plan implementation with the Department of Transportation has been accepted, that a new certificate of registration has been issued for the period commencing August 1st, 2017, and that the registration is effective for 3 years. Whereas in accordance with Section 121-46.1 of the Town Code, it appears to the Town Board that 1, the airfield use commenced more than 15 years prior to the effective date of Section 121-46.1. 2, prior to December 31st, 2002, the Town Board issued an airfield permit authorizing the continued operation of the airfield pursuant to Town of Amenia Local Law Number 5 of 2001. 3, the airfield use has been continuously operated without abandonment since issuance of the airfield permit by the Town Board and approval by the Commissioner of New York State Department of Transportation pursuant to Section 249 of the General Business Law. And 40, the property owner applicant has timely applied for and obtained all renewal airfield permits as required by Section 121-46.1D. Specifically, the applicant has applied to the Town Board for renewal of its airfield permit prior to the expiration of a previously issued permit on November 20th, 2017, and the applicant has not transferred ownership of the subject property, and inquiries to the Town Code Enforcement Officer, New York State Department of Transportation Aviation Bureau, have not revealed any noncompliance with applicable rules and regulations of the town and any regulatory bodies having jurisdiction over the operation of the airfield. Whereas the Town Board has invited members of the public to provide comment on the renewal application of Bel Air Farm Incorporated at a public hearing held on August 17th, 2017, and to present evidence of any instances in which the applicant has failed to operate the airfield in compliance with the applicable rules and regulations of the town, and any regulatory body having jurisdiction over the operation of such airfield. Whereas in the time provided by the town board for public comment or the submission of evidence, the town board has not received any information suggesting that the applicant has failed to operate the airfield in compliance with the applicable rules and regulations of the town and any regulatory body having jurisdiction over the operation of the airfield. Whereas the approval of renewal of such airfield permit is a Type 2 action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, namely a permit renewal where there will be no material change in the permit conditions or the scope of permitted activities, 6 NYCRR 617.5C26, and therefore is not subject to seeker review. Now therefore be it resolved that the application of Bel Air Farm Incorporated for renewal of its airfield permit authorizing the continued use of the facility is hereby granted. The term of such renewal permit to expire on November 20th, 2022. Such term to be eligible for renewal as provided by the town code. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
And Gutierrez and DeLango are absent. I'll email it to you.
I'll see you in 5 years. Sounds good. Same place, same bat time.
Same bat channel.
Okay, our energy consultant presentation for town hall upgrade to LED lighting. Are you ready to proceed?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to take a short break to transfer the information to my computer?
If we could.
Yeah, if we could just take a short break so we can do technical finishing touches.
Well, we can go on to climate smart.
Well, at some point, we'll need a break to do this and get this up and running, but it's up to you. I think the projector doesn't need to continue running indefinitely. Or I can,
So this only takes a few minutes, or?
well, I'm not sure how long it's going to take. We'll need a few minutes, and I think it'd just be better if we just take a break and get this done, but
Victoria, what did you read down at the bottom here? Did you read August 3rd or August 17th?
We're getting ready for the presentation. I'd like to introduce our new attorney, Genevieve Twig.
We can put the archers underneath it, I think.
I think that
We turn in the back.
he's got the tilt things underneath it and raise it up, I think, as he needs to.
One.
Thank you.
Should we turn a light out, or?
Yeah, the lights will help everybody can see it.
Yep.
We're ready then?
Yes.
Okay.
You're
great.
on.
Okay, we got it up then. Everyone has the copy too, right? That's perfect. So we can follow along together. So, well, first of all, my name's Tyler Hall. I'm an energy consultant with Big Shine Energy. And on behalf of Big Shine Energy, I just want to say thank you for allowing us to be here to present this proposal. We had a chance to drive through the country part on our way here. It's such a beautiful area and a community. So we understand the sense of community here, and we respect that a lot. So this is our proposal for the town of Amenia to retrofit to LED lighting here. Then, as many people know already, through the use of LED lighting, not only the aesthetics improvement, the environment improves, but also the energy savings. And if we could just go to the next page. Before we begin, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but just to explain a little bit about Big Shine Energy. Our mission statement is we are trying to achieve zero emissions. We want to reduce the carbon footprint on the world and truly believe that this is a very important matter throughout the world. We are a turnkey solution. We offer everything from manufacturing to the installation, to the consultation, to the rebate work, everything. So if we could go to the next one. Then this is a lighting setup that we put in the proposal. This is what you have now compared to what it will be if you switch to LEDs. Now, I'll explain here as much detail and simply as I possibly can, but these are taking operation hours as if everything was in use at its peak hours. So I know that not all the rooms are on at the same time. Some are off, but Victoria and I had spoken about this. But this gives you a chance to see the savings. So if you see lines 1 through 22, you see a lot of numbers and words, but those are all fluorescent tubes. That's what those are, so everyone's very clear. Basically, what we're proposing is that we switch out the fluorescent tubes that you have inside, even these fixtures right here, to LED tubes. It would be a retrofit. So the fixtures remain the same, but inside it changes to LED, not fluorescent. Then if we could go to the next one, please. Then this is very important. This is your return on investment calculation. And currently, right now, from the records I've seen, the building has an energy rate of about 13 cents per kilowatt hour. That does change. It does fluctuate throughout time. Right now, it's at 13 cents, so that's what I put here. So with that in mind, as you can see here, existing cost per year calculations, with these numbers and calculations, you're spending about $21,000 in lighting. That is not your energy bill, that is your lighting bill. If you switch to LED, you see a yearly cost of about $4,000. As you can see, is a dramatic difference. Then if we continue going down a little bit where it says energy cost, it's what you have now compared to LED. Within 6 months, you would save about $8,000. If you go a little further down, you see the maintenance savings. Now, the maintenance savings are something that I know in this building is constant upkeep. Even as Victoria was explaining, the ballasts are changed out regularly. But with LEDs, fortunately, we don't have to worry about maintenance. There's no changing of the ballast. When I get into the product details, I can explain a little more why, but we don't have to worry about that. Overall, you're looking at a total savings, if we go down about $12,000 just within 6 months. The ROI, return on investment, we're looking at 1.4 years, meaning after about 1.5 years, the project will pay for itself. Very important as well, you have estimated incentives. As you can see there at the bottom, I think it shows. I know everyone has it in front of them, maybe too.
Yeah.
This one, oh, thank you. $6,247 of estimated rebates from your utility company. I say estimated, and it says on the proposal estimated, but through the program that this area has, it's called a prescriptive program. It means most of the fixtures, you get a certain dollar amount for whatever you're changing. So what I'm saying is basically what you think you're going to get is what you will get. Then it does require a pre-approval process. If you're receiving $10,000 or more, you are not, but you can still receive pre-approval if you need that assurance. And of course, Big Shine Energy will take care of dealing with all the incentives and all the work to go with that. And next, please. Product warranty. We stand by every single one of our products. The warranty on these particular fixtures or the particular product that we're offering is a 5-year warranty. As Big Shine Energy, when we do the installation, we offer a 1-year installation warranty. So if anything happens within 1 year, we take care of it ourselves. If anything happens within those 5 years, we still take care of it for you, but we're not the ones, if it's past 1 year, we're not the ones to go in there and actually physically change it out. But we still stand by the product, and no questions asked. If it's not working, and we'll get you a new one. And hopefully we won't have to worry about that anyway. Then next, the project cost. Any way to come down, scroll a little bit more to the bottom? I'm sorry, actually, we have to go to the next page. I'm sorry. There, thank you. Then there's a breakdown of the project cost, the previous page and this page as well. Overall, we're looking at an investment of a little over $43,000. That is not including the rebates, the $6,000 in rebates. So you can plan on receiving, yes, it's $43,000, but you receive the rebate of $6,000. And then after that, the 1.4 ROI, you can expect to receive that return on investment.
Now, this is inside and out.
Inside and out, yes, correct. If
Inside
these
and
are
outside
our,
of the building or inside and out beyond the building?
In-
Inside and out of this building?
correct,
Yeah,
yes.
just this building.
Okay.
Yep, so inside this building, and then you don't have many lights on the outside, but the ones that you do have, we're switching out. There, and Victoria was right, there are some LEDs, they're the flag lights, the ones shining on the flag, so I left those alone, so.
Right.
But the rest is, we would change out the LED, yep. Then, but the majority of it are these exact fixtures you see here too. And then including the other areas such as the gymnasium and so on. So, any questions about this breakdown at all? Okay. And then the next, please. Our project scope, this is just basically saying what we're replacing with, with which product. It's a simple replacement of the tubes that you have in there. The ballast that when you walk into the building that you hear humming and buzzing, when you walk in, that will be gone, completely gone. I know some people are happy about that, but we will replace them with an LED driver. Then the lifetime of the tubes is considerably longer than the fluorescent, so you won't have to worry about changing anything. Like I was saying earlier, you won't have to worry about changing anything for years. So I know that's a big plus. Then troubleshooting and rewiring are not included. As it says, I do not expect to run into any problems here. It's a very simple process. And also says disposal is not included. Then if that is something that you guys want us to take care of, then please let us know too. Then next please. This is a project agreement. Part of our terms is that we do upon agreement and signing, we do a 50% deposit. Then within that time, between the signing and the installation, there's another 25%, and then after everything is said and done, the other 25%. And then within that time, we'll be working with the rebates too, to make sure that you have the incentive coming in as well. And then next, please. Then this shows if you were to remain with what you have, looking at it as in terms of savings, you can expect a loss, a company loss compared to not changing to LED. As you even see here, if we were to stay with what we had now and not switch to LED, it would be compared after 5 years of losing over $100,000. And then we could see that too by the kilowatts used there. Next, please. The project phases, this just shows the process that we go through in working with you. Upon the agreement, we we start production. Sometimes we have it in stock, sometimes we make it, it's made to order. Everything I believe that we have proposed is in stock, so it would happen rather quickly within the next couple of months. Then we schedule the installation with you, and when everything is installed, we make sure to come back and do a walkthrough with you. We're not going to install and say goodbye and that's it. Then next, please. Then terms and conditions. You can go to the next one too. And this is for everyone's protection, of course. Next, please. And this project, this is quite amazing. This project, if you switch to LED in here, it is equivalent to removing 18 cars from the streets, the energy savings. It is equivalent to planting 20 acres of trees, and it is equivalent to over 200,000 pounds of CO2 emissions being removed, which is quite outstanding.
Is this annually?
Annually, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay,
yes.
And that's 203,000 pounds
Yes,
of
yes,
CO2.
sorry. Yes. And then if you look at the rest of the proposal are, if you wouldn't mind going to the next one. Any questions about the LED terminology are here, if we're not here to answer them. One thing I did want to mention while I was here is that there is something called with lights, it is the color temperature. Even when, for example, when you go to Home Depot or Walmart and you want to just find a light bulb for your house, you have a choice. It's daylight or warm light. Basically just an orangish light or a white light. For work environments, it's suggested to have a nice white light. That's what we're proposing here. It helps for a better, more positive environment. Then, of course, though, we can change that at any times. But I know when Victoria and I spoke and going around from office to office, it seemed like everybody wanted that nice white, bright light.
So that would be the middle shade, the 550?
These ones particular would be 5,000 K. Yes.
5,000. Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
And then next, please. These are lighting recommendations. Of course, we'll be very sure that you have a proper amount of light. Just to be straightforward, it'll be a lot brighter. It'll be much brighter in every room than it is now, and it won't be different colors as it is now too. You'll have a nice even white light. So. And next, please. These are CRI details. Basically, the color rendering. Then how you see things depends on how the light is in the environment. Sometimes a red is not really the red that it actually is until you bring it into the sunlight. I'm sure we've all experienced that, but all our products and everything that we bring in, we make sure that it's above standard. And next, please. That would be it. So, if I have time, I'd like to answer any questions you have, though. But that is our LED proposal for you.
What would be the time frame for completing the job?
To start installation, 4 to 6 weeks. And when the installation begins, very quickly, I would say within a week's time.
Mm-hmm.
Have you done other municipalities?
We've done many office buildings.
Okay.
I'd have to double check specifically, but we've done many buildings very similar to this.
The size and
Exactly,
scale.
yes.
You were going to send us a list of those,
Of references.
of references.
Yep, no problem.
You mentioned the 1-year warranty, you take care of anything that isn't working properly. And you mentioned that at 5 years, you wouldn't be doing the reinstallation, but somebody else would be. And so
Right.
we cover the cost of anything at that point after 1 year of changing everything out, and you just help us navigate those?
Correct,
Issues?
more or less correct, yes. Yeah.
Sorry.
Actually, yes. Then the product itself has a 5-year warranty.
Okay.
So if anything
I
happens
see.
within that 5 years, we'll replace it with.
But you just
no
won't do
problem.
the work?
Right, if it is after 1 year since we installed it.
Yes, okay.
Yep.
I got it.
Yep. So hopefully within that 1 year, you're going to know if something's not right.
Do you have any sense, I mean, we just bought these, when we moved in here, 5, 6, 7 years ago. So I wonder why we chose these versus the others. I wonder if you could hazard a guess.
Yes, actually, that's a good question. Basically, why didn't you do LED?
Just go with LED
Yeah.
because of the $43,000 price tag, or?
Well, LED technology has changed drastically within just a few years. Even 3 years ago, technology was there, but it is much different than it is now. So 3 years ago, also there may have not been I'm not sure which rebates were being offered then, but there may have not been any rebates for LED tubes at all, or LED in general.
Okay.
Yeah. So now is actually a very good time to do it because the technology has caught up and also the rebates are being offered. But the technology will continue to increase, but the rebates will not be there forever. Then still, everyone has, at one point or another, has to switch to LED, but with or without the rebates, we'll have to. But right now, there's an opportunity for everybody.
Do you mind if I ask a couple questions?
Sure, go ahead.
What's the average life span of the LED? bulb?
50,000 hours, average for hours. Yeah.
And are there any special disposal requirements that you're privy to?
Yes, it depends on from county to county or state to state, but we would work with whatever terms those are. So if we take care of the disposal, we'll make sure to do it properly, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't contain mercury,
Right.
That's the good news.
Yes.
That's right, the disposal is much
so it's quite
safer.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, either way, no matter what, we'll take care of it safely. Yeah.
What would be the cost of disposing of these units if we asked you to do it? What would be the additional cost?
I would have to double check, but before the end of the night, I can find out for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we would be interested in finding out the correct way to dispose of these things,
Okay,
right?
perfect.
Is there any chance you could also install a projector at the top, already doing the wiring? And all I'd ask is that you tack on an additional job of adding a projector that hangs from the ceiling and is remotely controlled.
Since we have the
Maybe
ladder,
one of
the lift
those,
up there.
Screens that come down remotely also.
Well, when you
Small ask for $43,000.
when you see our installers, they probably would say
Help me out a little.
then I would
Yeah.
jump in.
Great. Okay. We've got that on tape.
Does anyone else have any other questions? So you will get us references and also a price for disposal?
Correct. Yes.
And we will review your proposal and probably address it at our next meeting in September.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Climate Smart Communities Grant Program presentation. Europa. Hello again.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much to Supervisor Brody and the board for having me and inviting me again. I just wanted to let Tony introduce me because she was really the liaison that arranged for me to present to the board tonight. So I'll let her give a brief talk, and I have some handouts. Can I just...
Sure.
Talk in the mic. They don't hear you unless you're in the mic.
Oh, I see. I apologize.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. The room is so small, I didn't realize. So I just wanted to say thank you to the board and the supervisor for having me present tonight on the Climate Smart Communities and Clean Energy Communities programs. I have some handouts. I'll bring them up to you, and Tonya Shumanoff will reintroduce me.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Town Board. I'm Tonya Shumatoff, the former CAC chair from 1997 to 2004, and the host of Planet Blue at Vassar College Radio WVKR. It was my privilege to host a program with Europa's colleague, Carla Castilla, along with the head of the NYSERDA program for Clean Energy Communities, Brad Tito, who supervises the program throughout New York State. And we wanted to get Europa, because Europa is actually the Clean Energy Communities coordinator for the Hudson Valley. She's a planner with the Hudson Valley Regional Council, and she is the main spokesperson for the region about this very interesting program. I was very excited to hear about it because there are some very high impact but quite achievable environmental actions that have significant possibilities of grant funding. And I was also excited because a number of communities in our area, I understand now 18 of them, have now achieved the status where they did get grant funding. And also Red Hook, which has been very proactive for environmental projects, has achieved the $250,000 grant, and they had a big meeting in Rhinebeck and Red Hook just a few weeks ago on a community shared solar project where the installation of solar panels will be shared throughout the community, bringing down everybody's costs on electric bills. So I was quite excited about that, and I'm asking Europa if she could research that idea for the town of Amenia. It's not specifically part of what she's going to be talking about tonight, but I will revisit that with the CAC. So on that note, I will hand the microphone over to Europa McGovern. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that introduction. I feel very important. So again, I'm Europa McGovern. I'm your Regional Clean Energy Communities Coordinator. I work out of the Hudson Valley Regional Council, and we're basically a NYSERDA subcontractor for this program. So the program launched a year ago, so we're just seeing the 1-year anniversary. And I think I was listed as Climate Smart Communities tonight, so hopefully by the end of my couple of minutes introduction here, you'll start to understand the differences between the New York State DEC Climate Smart Communities Program and this NYSERDA Clean Energy Communities Program. And I have to say it was fortuitous that the Big Shine did that presentation because energy efficiency and LEDs factor very much into our program as well. So you'll start to see those linkages, hopefully. So the way the Clean Energy Communities Program works is that the NYSERDA has identified a list of 10 high-impact actions, they call them. On the handout I handed out, on the left side you'll see those actions. And so the way it works is a community can choose to pursue any or all of those actions, but if they complete 4 of them, they receive a New York State Clean Energy Community designation. And as Tonya said already, basically there were 18 grants a year ago when the program launched for the first 18 communities that completed those actions. So those 18 grants are earmarked, but all hope is not lost. We still have a lot to offer communities through the program, and we are funded for 2 more years. And so out of those 10 actions, the Climate Smart Communities Program certification is one of those 10. So basically anything related to that, I can provide assistance for as well. And so right now there's, much like the Clean Energy Communities Program, under Climate Smart, communities can pursue an array of actions. Even though it's one of a list of 10 here, it's actually a much more comprehensive program than the Clean Energy Communities Program. And so communities, that program launched, the certification portion launched in 2012, but there is 15 now certified climate smart communities. And our program launched a year ago, and we have something like 90 designated clean energy. So it shows you that that's a much more comprehensive program, actually, even though it's one of these small ones on our list. And so as far as a town the size of Amenia, a couple of the actions that can be really beneficial, and then I can provide a significant technical assistance for. The first one would be benchmarking, and that actually really ties well into Big Shine's presentation about the LED lighting retrofits in this building. Benchmarking is tracking and measuring the energy use of your large municipal buildings. I previously had met with Supervisor Parodi on this program, and we had discussed the possibility of benchmarking. I believe Amenia has two or three large municipal buildings? So basically, this would just entail collecting at least a year's worth of your energy bills, and then I can assist whatever designated staff member or volunteer to put them into an free online platform. It's called the EPA Portfolio Manager tool. You have a baseline, you can see how much you're spending and see where you're using your energy. And then if you're doing HVAC, LED lighting retrofits, other upgrades, wood pellet burning stove, all of these things I've heard rumors of here. It's a great way to see where you want your energy savings or where you can capture them, and then it's a great way to quantify those savings and to show them to your residents, showing that you're saving energy and costs, of course. And then that ties into clean energy upgrades. It's a way to show and quantify the percentage of your greenhouse gas emissions reductions, and to qualify for the clean energy upgrades action, you just need to demonstrate that you reduced your energy usage by 10%, which something, I mean, just offhand, having done this with a lot of smaller municipalities, something like that LED lighting retrofit can significantly reduce your energy uses, especially if you have two buildings and that's one of those buildings. And then there's a few other actions. The only other one I really want to mention today, because it's so big, is the Climate Smart Communities program. And that's really what I was listed on the agenda today as talking about, is the Climate Smart Communities program grants. Now, there's every year there's grants open through the New York State Consolidated Funding application for the Climate Smart Communities program. They just closed. That just closed for this year, July 28th. But next May, they'll be reopening. And so in the packet that I handed out, you'll see there's actually there's a sheet that shows the grants that were for this year for the Climate Smart Communities program. So if you take a look through those, you'll start to see there's a lot of grants, 50% match required. But they all have to do with climate change adaptation and mitigation actions, and also climate smart community certification projects. So if you start to review those, you have the whole winter all the way through till next May to start to see if you have a project, you know, that ready by next May when the opportunity reopens. Again, that's something I can provide significant assistance for with the grant writing and the application process. And then I just want to share with you a little bit, just anecdotally, about what some of your neighbors are pursuing. I think for smaller municipalities, it can be daunting, the paperwork and the red tape involved in a lot of these government programs, and that's what's really unique about this program, that we have these boots on the ground coordinators like myself that are very much available to assist your staff or volunteers. I often also work with dedicated volunteer groups like conservation advisory councils to implement and get some of these actions done on behalf of their municipalities, and they also can bring in significant, like I said, cost and energy savings and bring in grant funding. Dover is a great example. They applied for a 2016 Climate Smart Community Certification Grant. I actually just spoke to the town clerk, Katie Palmerhouse, today, and so she's working closely with the team there to start working on their Climate Smart Community certification process. One of the first things they'll be doing is a government operations greenhouse gas emissions inventory. It's kind of like benchmarking the, equivalent of benchmarking the energy use of your buildings, but you're doing it for your greenhouse gas emissions from all your government operations. So that's a great thing that they're working on. Union Vale, I've been working closely with them actually, and we're working on doing the benchmarking, and they have quite a few more buildings than Amenia because they have that huge park there. So I'm working with Union Vale closely on that. And then interesting about Union Vale is that they are interested in pursuing a large-scale solar project on their capped landfill. They have an EPA report. I don't know if that was done for Amenia, but Union Vale was lucky enough to get this EPA report on that specific site that stated that basically it's a good site to develop solar. So even though that's large-scale solar development is not one of the 10 high-impact actions, again, that's something that I can assist the community with in those initial planning stages. There's another NYSERDA program called New York Sun, and so I've put Union Vale in touch with them, and we're sitting down for meetings and starting those first conversations with the utility, developers, DEC. There's a lot of parties, a lot of moving parts in solar development, as you probably know. And then there's two ways that municipalities often go with that, which is solar development to offset your own municipal energy use and/or community solar. You can actually, the municipality can be one of the off-takers in a community solar project, as long as they're not using more than 40% of the generation of a large solar project. So that's pretty much what I want to share. Tonya had touched on Red Hook as well. They were one of our first designated clean energy communities. They're getting a $100,000 grant. And like I said, even though we have our 18 grants allocated, there's a lot that I can do, and we're really very much a resource that's available to you.
What is Red Hook doing with their grant?
Well, so they were not approved yet by NYSERDA, but word of mouth is that, and I assisted them in that grant development process, is they're actually doing a very innovative, or their proposal is for a very innovative community outreach portion. They're actually using a portion of that $100,000 grant to they basically want to advocate for energy efficiency and electric vehicles and other things like that in the community. So some things where ideas were like LED lighting light bulb swaps. This one's a really neat one, was the idea for rebates for community residents who get EV charging stations installed in their homes. As an EV driver myself, when I met with Supervisor Perotti a couple of months ago, I drove my Nissan Leaf here, and luckily enough, you have that private EV charging station over by
The drive-in.
The drive-in, exactly. It's kind of hidden, but we have apps now for these things. So that was a lifeline for me when I drove there a couple months ago. So anyway, so Red Hook is doing that community outreach component, but then they're also doing they want to develop solar on one of their municipal buildings, maybe the highway garage, and there was a couple of other projects. So they're basically using it. They're providing matching funds for a lot of it. So they were able to leverage that $100,000 to do, say, $400,000 or $500,000 worth of projects, which is really neat as well.
Which save over time and goes
Cumulative
towards ultimately, a much more efficient community, more efficient.
Exactly, and that's why, even though, it's hard to make these presentations now that our 18 grants are allocated, there's actually so much benefit that we can provide, or that each of these actions provides to you just in energy savings, which of course directly results in cost savings. The LED streetlights as well. I mean, that's another huge one that we're working with multiple municipalities in our 7-county region that are pursuing it. Even if you go with a turnkey, I mean, you could do a community managed approach where you issue your own RFP to do a purchase of your lights, to purchase your street lights. Even if you get a turnkey service, the most expensive one out there, you still are saving right off the bat with converting to LED street lights.
But when you convert to them, you're also responsible for them.
Yes, and
the maintenance.
That is true. That is definitely true. From municipalities that have done that on the West Coast, there's basically less than a 1% failure rate of LEDs in the first 5 years, and they have a 25-year warranty. So you're totally right. The Mid-Hudson Streetlights Consortium is working in our area, yet another NYSERDA-funded program, and so they're about to issue an RFP for aggregated purchase of the lights. I think there's 18 communities in our region. Anybody that's interested can still sign up with them to get in on that RFP, and then of course you don't have to move forward. And then the second RFP will be for the operation.
That's for Central Hudson, isn't it?
That is. You're not Central Hudson.
That's right.
Yes,
I've been following all this.
So that's a separate conversation. Exactly. That's a great point. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, I was...
Hudson Valley as well, the Solarize Hudson.
Yes, and that was another conversation we've had previously. Solarize Hudson Valley, another NYSERDA-funded campaign. There's just a lot going on in the field of energy efficiency and renewables right now. And that's basically a community effort with this a group of dedicated volunteers that again, they issue an RFP, and they work with my NYSERDA colleagues, and they have a campaign to advocate for residents to get free home solar assessments. Yeah. I got one myself last year. It wasn't right for me, but...
yeah, they've been mostly doing that in Ulster, though, aren't they?
They had a very successful one, again, in upper northern Dutchess, that Red Hook was a part of. They had a successful one also it was called the Beacon Plus campaign. That's in 2015 and 16. And then you're right, the last round was in Ulster. And then now they're working in Orange County. I think they plan on circling back to Dutchess for one last round before that program is.
because when I know when
ends.
I looked at it, they weren't doing any in this area for a while.
Yeah.
We had them on our show too, and they are back in Dutchess County as of now.
Tanya, could you speak to the mic, please?
Yes, we had John Wackman from Solar Rise Hudson Valley on our program as well, and he was very supportive, and he said, yes, he is coming back to this side of the Hudson River and will be supporting Solar Rise projects on this side of Dutchess County.
So again, any of these, this list of 10 and beyond, like large-scale solar development, any of those things, you can really see me and the Hudson Valley Regional Council as a free resource, basically. So if you have any questions or if you are interested in pursuing any of these, please let me know, and I can be happy, I'd be happy to do research, share information, come back, meet with your Conservation Advisory Council, say, or any interested parties, and assist. That's it. Thank you.
As a first, can I just ask
Oh,
a
yeah.
question? So as a first step, the benchmarking seemed like an obvious place to start. We certainly have had a NYSERDA grant, and with this building, for instance, we went through and had an energy audit. We can use those historical figures, right? And then we upgraded our heating system. Would that count
Exactly.
as, retroactively? Are we able to dig back and
Well, first of all, you can benchmark as far back as you want to tick off the box as the high-impact action, so you'll appear on this NYSERDA map, and, maybe if future funding opens, it would count towards that. It entails passing a resolution basically saying you would make it accessible, the benchmarking reports available online annually, publicly accessible once a year moving forward. And then you'll just need to benchmark at least 1 year back, but you can go as far back as you want to track your energy use over time, so that you'll want to do the year before the most significant upgrades.
right?
Yeah, exactly. So and then that's the way. So that's benchmarking, and then that might turn into the clean energy upgrades, which is another action if you reduced your energy use by by 10% or more, or greenhouse gas emissions by 10% or more. So right there, that's two actions that again I'm very much available to assist with, and then it's a great way to.
So we
get
need
your
to
feet wet.
complete, we would need to complete 4 of these actions, is that correct?
You do, but it's more because those grants are gone, it kind of takes out, in a way, it takes away the urgency. So there's no race to the finish. We're funded for at least 2 more years, although actually the program is around for 4 more years. So for 2 more years, we're here, we're available, and we can assist you really diving in deep and working on those actions with the long-term goal of completing.
Now, how does the implementation projects fit into this? Because you're talking about eligible, adaptable actions. One of them is improve emergency preparedness and response systems.
So that goes into the Climate Smart Communities program. So basically, the implementation has to do with, resiliency, right? Building climate resiliency into your community. And so basically, for any of those grants that you see as relevant, you can work on that, and that'll get you Climate Smart Communities program points. Which again, that's sort of separate and more of a long-term goal as well. But they're really, I don't think you can, there's too much information in these handouts to absorb as I'm talking at you.
Yep.
And I have handouts for any attendees here as well tonight if you want to study it as well.
So
but
the
you'll
best
start to
thing for us to do is really look through the high-impact actions and see which 4 would be the most likely where we would be able to meet, like the benchmarking, energy code enforcement training.
Exactly, that's provided at no cost to your building, your code enforcement officer, your building inspector and staff. You'll need 3 staff members to attend the energy code enforcement training, but a lot of municipalities have found that beneficial. And it's another thing that you can also pair up with adjacent municipalities and get their building inspectors on board for too, which is kind of neat. We've had up to 3 communities pair up to complete the training, so it's beneficial for that way as well. Yeah, so again, it is good to have that ultimate goal, the 4 actions, but even if you've just identified one, it seems like even just talking tonight that we're thinking that benchmarking may be a beneficial action for you to pursue. And so I can follow up and send an email to the entire board, and then if you'd like to assign someone to work with me on that, that's a great way to start. For clean energy communities, there's no resolution to pass. You can start pursuing an action and drop out at any time. You can complete 1 or 2 and never move forward. And similarly, the Climate Smart Communities program, like Dover next door did, just to get involved in the program, you become a registered Climate Smart community by passing a resolution. When I follow up with the email, I'll send you that resolution. That's for Climate Smart. It basically is just taking a pledge with 10 elements in it. And then again, there's no Climate Smart police. There's no obligation to move forward. If you pass that resolution, you appear on the DEC's registered Climate Smart community list, and it gives you a preference or in points for your grant application if you're going for one of these infrastructure or mitigation grants.
So all we have to do is pass a resolution, or are there requirements?
So to become a registered Climate Smart community, you just pass the resolution. If you want to become the next level is certified, and then that, of course, involves multiple points across multiple pledge elements.
Okay.
So the first is registration would get us in the door and cost us nothing.
Exactly.
Pass the resolution.
And no obligation to move forward.
And then we try and see if somebody's willing to help us with this benchmarking. Is that an annual? Are we obligated then to post that information annually and make that available?
If you pass the benchmarking resolution, yes. But if you would actually just like to try it first, I can assist you in doing the actual benchmarking, and then you can always pass the resolution later, which some municipalities do. Of course, for me and my job in documenting to NYSERDA the impact of the program in the long run, it's great if you actually pass the resolution, but you don't have to. Again, it's all just, we're just available to
Now,
assist.
do you have sample resolutions?
I do. I have a template benchmarking resolution. I have a template Climate Smart Communities resolution. So I can definitely follow up and send. Again, there's just world's infinite amounts of information. So in the follow-up email, I can give you I'll give you those 2 resolutions, and I think that's a good starting place.
Okay.
And some more information on the benchmarking, if you like.
Tanya, come up to the microphone.
Yeah, I just have a question, Europa, about the Climate Smart Communities grants. I noticed under eligible adaptation actions, it mentions retrofitting critical infrastructure to reduce future flood risks, and was wondering, because we do have a hamlet that is vulnerable to flooding, that would be something, if the town properly identified it, they would apply for a consolidated funding application for. And would they have to have a very detailed engineering report to apply for that flooding retrofitting, or what would they have to do?
Well, so each of the grants, there's basically the RFA, the request for application, so there's the detailed requirements in that. And if if the town is interested in specifically pursuing one of those grants or building, their proposal for next year's round, I can share that as well. I'm not sure about the requirements specifically for building the flood resiliency planning, as far as the engineering study and such, but I can share that RFA as well. So I better start writing all this down. A lot of information. Any more questions? No?
No, we'll be looking forward to get the additional information so we can move forward.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for allowing me to present on these 2 programs tonight.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Public comment? Supervisors report. I received information from Rebuilding Together. Dear Supervisor Perotti, for 25 years, Rebuilding Together Dutchess County has been providing quality home repair services to low-income Dutchess County homeowners who otherwise might live in substandard conditions. Since our founding in 1992, over 500 homeowners have been helped with repairs valued at over $5.8 million in market value, and over 13,000 volunteers have been engaged. Our 2018 Rebuilding Day program will include your community. We would like your help identifying qualified recipients who can benefit from our cost-free home repair and safety modification efforts scheduled for April and October of 2018. Our application deadline to qualify for our April National Rebuilding Day is September 30th, 2017. We would welcome any assistance you could provide in publicizing our call for applications to your constituents. We would also be happy to accept direct referrals from you of qualified homeowners in need. Keep in mind, too, that we would also consider a group of qualified homes in the same neighborhood, where our work would benefit not only the homeowner, but the entire community. If you have such a referral, give us a call to discuss the details. You have a unique vantage point in the ability to get out the word about our services. Enclosed is a 2017 application, which is also available on our website, www.rtduchess.org. I've made several copies of applications for rebuilding together, and they are outside the town hall meeting room. So anyone who would like an application is welcome to come to the town hall and get one. We would be happy to provide additional materials for you to distribute through your communication channels to inform people about RTDC, to encourage them to apply. We appreciate you alerting us if you distribute our materials to your community. Once we make our final project selection for 2018, we'll inform you of the projects that may be occurring in your municipality and hope that you will be able to visit our work teams and homeowners on that day. Thank you for your assistance. So anyone who feels they can benefit from this program, please, by all means, come get the application. You can call them. They can help you, assist you with the application if it would help you.
You need to be income eligible, but beyond that, there's almost no other requirement. You just need to be financially, unable to make these repairs on your own, and it's not an onerous threshold, and you probably can find out quickly on the website what your household income needs to be eligible. But it's a very accessible program, and I understand going door to door, there are a lot of homes that could absolutely benefit from having some improvements, and I think we could make really good use of that in Amenia, that program.
The highway garage land transfer, Daniel Russell of Crawford and Associates will begin surveying the 7 acres for the DEC that will be transferred to them by the OPWDD, and also the 5 acres of DEC land that is to be transferred to the town of Amenia. This is the first step in the process. Wassaic Ladies Auxiliary, pancake breakfast is Sunday, August 27th from 8 to 11. Please support this worthwhile cause. Town clerk report.
Good evening. The minutes from August 3rd were circulated earlier this evening. Vouchers have been circulated to the board, and I present to the board the vouchers on the abstract dated August 15, consisting of 7 pages, were audited, and the amounts are as follows. General Fund A, $72,026.71. Highway Fund, $46,989.61. Amenia Lighting, $1,343.39. Wassaic Lighting, $482.33. Amenia Water, $67.38, for a total amount of $125,209.42.
I'll make a motion that we pay the claims as read.
Second.
Councilman Morris,
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle,
Yes?
and Supervisor Perotti.
Yes.
Also this evening, it was circulated earlier this week by email, the Amenia Library is looking to use our Gymnasium on Thursdays from 10 a.m. until noon. They will be providing the required insurance, so at this time I'm requesting that we waive the fee. It's going to be for the children's story and activity hour.
I make a motion that we allow the use of the gymnasium on the days stated and without a fee
For the Amenia
for
Library.
the Amenia Library program.
Looking for a second?
Yes,
Okay.
I am. Thanks, Jim. Councilman Morris,
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle,
Yes.
and Supervisor Frody.
Yes.
And that will conclude my report this evening.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of August 3rd, 2017.
See what I did to
Yeah,
you?
A. They both start with A.
That's all my fault.
August, April.
With one correction, it's simply a typo. Amended meets and bounds, M-E-T-E-S, rather than...
Eats, yeah.
Yep.
Now that
So at
you're
the bottom
looking at
of
me, you know you're
the first page.
Thank you.
Okay? Otherwise, they look fine.
Thanks.
Do we have a second?
I'm
I
first
didn't-
reading them, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought you were going to ask.
I just said I read them out loud. I didn't know she was going to be a
Oh.
speed reader.
So I will withdraw my motion.
Okay.
We
And
can-
maybe
I mean,
till the end of the meeting, or,
At the end of the meeting, or
Or
if
next
you,
meeting.
you know,
Sure.
we'll know if he reads through them or not.
okay,
But thank you. I'll have the.
we'll redo that later.
Yeah, okay, thanks. But that still concludes my report.
Oh, did you get the grant, the resolution for the grant that I sent you?
Did you send it to me this evening?
Yeah.
And no, I literally walked in at 7:15. Anything after 2:30 was not seen. Are you looking, is it in there in final format? You want me
No,
to?
it isn't. That's why.
Well,
we-
if you have it, I mean, putting it on letterhead and calling it, do you have it at all or no? Did it go out?
No, I sent it to you because I thought you should put it in your format.
There's no internet in here again,
Um,
so I can just read it.
There will be.
I know, we're all working on it.
While we're waiting for that, can I just announce that we did get $750 from Arts Mid-Hudson for our upcoming free Amenia Performing Arts Program, and Heather Holohan Garneri will be the instructor, and it starts September 16th and goes for 10 workshops where you learn all kinds of performing arts skills, and there's a final performance December 9th, and the snow date would be the 10th, so that would conclude the program, a musical review, and so I hereby hand this check to Victoria Perotti and the paperwork.
Who will in turn give it to the bookkeeper.
Thank you.
Stan, would you like to do your report?
We've been busy. Did some oil and stone today. Yesterday we cut down some trees. Did a little improvement on Deep Hollow Road. Had a bad corner. We widened that a little bit. That's about it.
Well, you also redid the fence along the Metro North pathway to the trail.
We didn't do that.
Who did that?
No, I don't know.
Maybe the park guys?
Yeah.
Well, it looks great, so I will just say
Sean
thank
and
you
Chucky
to
probably
whoever
did it.
Did it. It's a really, really a big improvement.
That's about it. Any questions?
Is there any
anybody?
way you could also remove the dead tree, the Christmas tree that seems not to survive from year to year?
Yeah, we'll grab it
Thank you
eventually.
very much. Appreciate that.
No, I think we ought to give up on that spot.
Well, the beauty of it is that if you plant a tree and it grows and it grows and it grows, it at some point becomes unable for volunteers to decorate it appropriately. It's also a very small square. The reason planting it helps is because we used to have overhead wires. Used to have locust trees, and we would wire the Christmas tree, a cut tree, a dead tree anyway, to the wires, but we don't have those locust trees anymore. So by planting it, it actually helps stabilize it, and then we cable it as well. But I don't think it's the end of the world to plant a tree, live or dead, there, so that we can decorate it, that it doesn't get too big and outgrow its spot.
You gotta be careful when you plant it. There's a lot of wires down in the ground there.
So every time you dig it, we're potentially...
You gotta be real careful.
Okay. That's a consideration.
I thought it was doing good. I mean, it died kind of quick.
They were watering, so Marilyn Noe was watering all. So I just don't think the soil is right. You amended the soil, or?
Yeah, we added topsoil this time.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of salt in there.
Could be, yeah, probably from salting the
Tons of
parking
salt
lot.
goes down there. So it just may not be appropriate for establishing a tree.
Everything else seems to grow there, though. The locust trees did real good.
Yeah, but they were established, you know what I mean, years and years ago. I don't know. We could try again, but I don't know. What's your recommendation, that we not plant because of the wires?
Oh, I don't know. Find another spot.
It's pretty high visibility on that corner.
Yeah. I don't know.
Can you take one and pass it down? I'd also like to present tonight an additional resolution for the submission of the Hudson River Valley Greenway Community Grant to develop a
Excuse me,
plant pathway.
were you finished, Dan?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Just want to make sure. I don't want to miss anything.
Westlake Park.
Resolution number
30.
30. A resolution authorizing the submission of a Hudson River Valley Greenway Community Grant to develop a plan for improvements to Wassaic Park. Whereas the town of Amenia has applied for and received a total of $17,500 in Hudson River Valley Greenway grants to assist the town with planning and design costs associated with the local projects such as the 2007 Comprehensive Plan Update, the 2008 Amenia Hamlin Plan, and the Wassaic Trail to the Train project in 2011. Whereas the town has met with representatives of architects who developed the playground at Amenia Town Hall, and who have made some suggestions for improvements to Wassaic Park, including improved parking, enhanced access to the park, along with handicap-accessible parking spaces, new signage, kiosks, safety, and other improvements to the playground. Whereas the town would utilize Greenway grant funding to develop a Wassaic Park concept plan with detailed cost estimates and schematic plans, would seek to use the grant to leverage other New York State and private foundation grants, whereas the town intends to use the grant to finance the project and be reimbursed up to 50% of project costs with Greenway funds, and will match grant funds dollar for dollar with in-kind contributions and other in-house planning resources. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Amenia hereby authorizes the supervisor to submit an application to the Hudson River Valley Greenway by Friday, September 8, 2017, for a grant of up to $10,000 to assist the town in the development of a plan for Wassaic Park improvements.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes. Okay, committee reports?
Good evening, everyone. Nice to see you all. I'm Michelle Summergy, and I'm with the Town of Amenia's Recreation Commission, and I do a lot of senior trips and senior activities. And I want to report that yesterday we went to the Lobster Fest up at the Log Cabin in Holyoke, Massachusetts. We had our largest group ever of 53 people attend. The bus was totally packed. We got my regular driver, yes, I'm so happy, Sylvester, and I know everybody on the bus was so happy to see Sylvester again. He's traveled with us last year, and he's been traveling with us this year, and he knows where to pick us up and where to go and how to get there, and he's always on time, and he sticks to the schedule. He's very patient with everyone, especially me, and everyone got on the bus. We had 37 get on at Tally Ho, and then we came up to Amenia, and I think we had 9 get up on the town hall in Amenia. And then we traveled, because we were traveling north, we stopped up at Millerton and picked up another 6. So I think those are the right numbers, but a total is 53. It was really good. We had original seats when we got, okay, when I called up, they said our tables would be 1 to 7. And I thought, well, they must be very close to the stage or what have you. And so they called, because we got our money in and our reservation in first before anybody else. They were so delighted when they talked to the phone that they changed our seating. I'm going to use theater terms so you understand. The stage is up front, and we were switched from the balcony, top balcony, to orchestra seats. So we had a really great view, and everybody found their seats with a little bit of bubble, but they found them, and they had an excellent time. I have to tell you, they were very nice to us at the log cabin. The service was great. They had a server for every 2 tables, and people wanted coffee or this or that or the other thing, and they brought it right away. The meal was phenomenal. And I have to thank my new best friend, Joanne O'Brien. Yes, Joanne. She let me have her lobster because she doesn't eat lobster, so I had 2 lobsters, so I'm totally happy. And we had that, and the performer was fantastic. He was fantastic. If you ever get the opportunity to go up there and see this young man, I call him a young man because he's about my son's age, perform as Elvis. Great stage presence, great voice. He asked people for requests, and one of our ladies in our group kept yelling, the Hawaiian wedding song. He didn't have it on music, so he sang it a cappella. A cappella, for those of you who don't know, means no music, just his voice. And it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. So we had a really great day up there with everyone, and people came dressed in Hawaiian outfits. They all came. So a lot of people came with the flowers. I said, wear an outfit. Be a little Hawaiian. Have a little fun. And a number of our folks in the group came and had a good time. The object of coming on these trips and stuff is you meet new people that you may not know because they might not live right in your street neighborhood. And you go out there to have a little fellowship and a little fun, a little bit of enjoyment. All you have to do to come on these trips, to have a good time, is put a smile on your face and a little joy in your heart, and you'll have a great time. So we did that, and it was great, and it was wonderful. And I just want to say our next trip is to AquaTurf. It's a Motown review. It's Tuesday, September 12th. And I know there's a primary. Everybody goes, oh, there's a primary. We get you home in time to go to the primary. Don't you worry. That's why. There's a primary. Yeah, we'll get you home. We'll drive you right to the voting booth. We're okay with that. The cost is $45 per person plus the $2 cash tip for the driver, and that's for Sylvester. And he's very appreciative, and he's terrific guy. And the deadline was the 14th, but I know some people are still saying, oh, Michelle, yes. I won't be bringing any money to Marge until probably this Wednesday. That will probably be the cutoff because we have to send our check. We like to send our checks right on time so we get the prime seats that they will offer us for these places 2 weeks before the event. So we try to get our checks in because Motown, AquaTurf, I won't know what tables people have until we arrive. When we arrive, they will tell. So if I can get our money in, if I can get us scheduled up, I can get us really nice tables. They make an extra effort for those who meet their deadlines or their stuff. They put a little star by our name, sort of thing. So please call if you want to come. It's there. I just want to say one other thing. The Clove Creek Dinner Theater, the murder mystery, 6 in the City, is based on Sex and the City kind of thing. And the date is no longer tentative. It is firm. It's a firm date. So if you want to go, it's still on, the flyer's going, it's a firm date, and we will have it, and I think it will be great. It's located in Fishkill, New York. So it's really not a long trip for us, it's a short trip for us, which means our bus price is lower. So it sounds like it's going to be fantastic. And just for the seniors, the senior center will be opening again on Thursday, September 14th, 10 a.m., and we're going to be moving to the second floor, the recreation room, I think that's what it's called up there. So we'll be up there for that date. And so I hope seniors come on out and have a good time. And I think that's everything I know. If anybody has any questions on anything, I'm happy to answer them.
No?
Wonderful. Thank you all once again, and I want to say thank you to the folks who came on the trip with us. We had some really terrific people with really, they got up, helped each other. It was just great. It was really great. And I thank all of the good people that got on the bus with us. Thank you so much.
And I'd like to thank you for all the hard work and effort you put into this.
Oh,
You've really made them a success.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. I get a lot of thank yous. I even have people coming. I won't even mention, but I mean, what they said. If in case you ever, will you still do our trips? Will you still be part of us for the seniors and stuff? And I said, definitely yes, definitely yes. And they said, that's good. We're great. We're happy with that. So I'm happy with that. I got a lot of nice people, a lot of great compliments from people. They just loved it, and I had a very good time. Very good time. 2 lobsters. Thank you.
Are there any other committee reports?
The Amenia CAC met last night, and we, our chairman is Dave Reagan. He, first on his agenda was talking about the National Climate Assessment that came out. I think NOAA, the National Oceanic and Climate Group, in the national level came out with a summary, and the executive summary itself was 100 pages, and he basically summed it up with this one sentence: evidence for changing climate abounds from the top of the atmosphere to the depths of the ocean. So you can read the 100 pages, or you could just take that sentence. It would summarize it nicely. We briefly talked, that was not on the agenda, but was a question from our members. Cricket Valley Power down in Dover, I don't know why, but the town of Clinton is very upset over the negative impact of the emissions. We thought it was a done deal, and it's a very efficient. Natural gas is cleaner than a coal-fired plant, and there's 400 to 500 pages of documentation on DEC's website about Cricket Valley Energy, and we thought we'd look into it more, but it wasn't really on our agenda. The second thing was the rain garden was mulched, the little garden behind the town hall where the playground is. We mulched and cleaned it up. CAC members donated the hay and did the work over 2 Saturdays. So we're glad that's behind us.
Well, thank you for that.
Thank you.
That was a project.
It was a
Thank you to
huge
everyone who did
job.
that.
So anyway, we're going to be more organized next year, because it is, as the garden gets more mature and the Phragmites keeps escaping under the fence and intertwining with our native plants, we have to be vigilant, let's just say, with the weeds and the Phragmites. We did talk about Kent Hollow briefly. It is currently in the hands of the ZBA, who is considering the facts of whether or not there is, their mining activity there is a non-conforming pre-existing use, something that we also call grandfathering more typically, and DEC still has a notice of incomplete application, so I don't know yet to what degree the applicant then is addressing the concerns that were brought by the town. So there's two fronts happening separately on parallel tracks to do with that. The trail to the train, last time we noticed the notice of incomplete application, we know that there was a notice of complete application for our trail to the train application for our DEC permit. However, it has not been updated on the website. So I assume that's just a lack of, getting to it with the DEC's behalf. The fifth thing on our agenda was that if you use the rail trail, you might have noticed a huge beaver dam break near the Sharon Station Road, and it drained what all was previously a giant wetland. And the water didn't impact, the water could have impacted if it went through town, but as I understand it, it winds its way up through Troutbeck and joins the Weebatuck Creek there. But at any rate, it was an interesting change, and it's just what happens. Sometimes there was a big rainfall apparently, and it burst the dam, and the dam is gone, and we'll see what happens. That's the end of our report.
Okay, any other committee reports? Okay, action. Resolution authorizing disposal of obsolete equipment. Ms. 31.
Yes.
Excuse me. Authorizing disposal of obsolete equipment with no market value, whereas the town of Amenia obtained certain equipment, including, among others, computer, copier, and printer. A complete list of the equipment is attached here too. In previous years, which equipment was used by town officers and personnel at town offices for town purpose. Whereas the Town of Amenia Town Board has determined that such equipment is no longer functional, useful, or necessary for town purposes. Whereas the Town Board has determined that due to the age of the equipment and its extremely poor condition, such equipment has no appreciable value, and there is no individual business or other municipality that would be able to put such equipment to a useful purpose. Whereas the Town Board has determined it is the best interest of the town for such equipment to be disposed of in the following manner. Hard drives of the computers will be removed and destroyed, and the equipment properly disposed of by Business Automation Services Incorporated. Whereas the disposal of obsolete equipment is a Type 2 action pursuant to 6 NYCRR 617.520 as routine agency administration and management, and thus exempt from review under State Environmental Quality Review Act. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board hereby approves and authorizes the proper disposal of the attached list of equipment in the following manner. The hard drives of the computer shall be removed and destroyed, and the equipment properly disposed of by Business Automation Services. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution and attachment shall be filed in the office of the Town of Amenia Town Clerk within 5 days of the date of this resolution. I make that motion.
I'll second it.
Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
And Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Hire additional planner for planning board. We don't have all the information we need, including the pricing, so I'm going to table that until the next meeting. Under discussion, 2018 budget worksheets. I have handed out all the budget worksheets to all the departments, including members of the town board. So they have to be back to the bookkeeper by August 30th so that I can start on the budget. At our next meeting, we will be scheduling budget workshops. Other matters? I have transfer of funds, that would be 32. Whereas the town board has the authority to transfer funds when necessary and unanticipated to amend the budget. Whereas budget amendment for the general fund decreasing expense line 16204.01.059 building CE-heat by $3,000 and creating new expense line 13804.01 fiscal agent fees and the amount of $3,000 for capital market advisors fee for heating system ban and issuance. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund decreasing expense line 14404.01 engineering CE by $8,300 and increasing expense line 80204.01 planning CE special land use attorney by $8,000 and increasing expense line 80204.01.048 planning CE conferences and training by $300 for increased planning board conference expenses and attorney fees. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board authorizes a transfer of necessary budget lines to process the transaction. I make that motion.
Second.
Is there discussion? No. Roll, please.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
And Councilwoman Doyle.
Yes.
Okay, the other thing I have under other matters is the floors have never been really cleaned and polished and buffed since we moved in here. So they really are in dire need of it. So we've got 3 bids for someone to come in and to clean the floors. I have a bid from Jim Engineering for $2,175.75 from Squeaky Clean Services in Goshen, New York for $2,592. And also from O'Brien's Family Cleaning Service for $4,000. So it looks like Jim Engineering, who also, from what I understand, does several municipal buildings, does Dover and also Kent. I'd like to make a motion to hire Jim Engineering for, at a price of $2,178.75 to clean, polish the floors and buff them as needed.
I'll second what I'm hoping for a discussion.
Yeah, go ahead.
This will help keep our maintenance efforts, you know, I'm sure it'll improve our maintenance and aesthetics, but I would also say that it's a terrific shame to see the wood floors in the Historical Society room and the dance floor room, and in fact our utility room across the way upstairs with unfinished floors. They've been sanded but never put a protective polyurethane.
Where?
And so where the Historical Society is, right?
Okay.
So those floors are not protected. They've been cleaned up, but they have never put a protective varnish polyurethane
I thought that
on.
was the last, I mean, when he sanded the floors, he never put anything on them?
I don't see a shred of polyurethane.
Well, I
The
can...
worry that I have is that they're going to get damaged over time, and the sanding that was done beautifully is going to be for naught. The same goes for the room that's been turned into the dance studio where your group will be meeting. You wear high heels, or somebody skids across or pulls a chair across it, and they're going to have to really take it down again. My concern is also less so with the utility room. If people are dragging heavy boxes across, it'll be a matter of time before those floors need to be totally redone. And at this point, those rooms could have, I would guess, a buffing and 3 coats of poly, and we'd be done.
Okay, so we can just call the person
He's
who
very
did
good.
them.
Richard Hyatt is that?
Whoever, yeah.
Well,
whoever-
Richard Hyatt can give a quote. He did the auditorium. I don't believe he was the guy who did your courtroom and the rest of the rooms before
I don't know
we
who did them.
That was somebody else, I believe.
That wasn't me. You know, I don't know who hired them.
Richard is very good and would give a good quote, but I would guess if we got a couple of quotes for that to be done as well, I just think that that's, would be money well spent in the long run.
Okay, could you send me an email with all of that detail?
Yes,
And then we'll get quotes.
okay,
I can have Annette do that.
okay.
Vicki, if you want to renew your motion to approve the minutes, I'll second it.
Okay, do we want to finish this one, though?
Sure.
Okay. So I think you moved it, I seconded it.
So Councilman Morris, this is for the hiring Jim Engineering.
For $2,178.75.
Councilwoman Doyle
Yes.
and Supervisor Prodi.
Yes. And back to the minutes.
They were August
3rd.
3rd. Yep, so that motion still, I'd like to,
No, we need to do a new one.
a new one. Motion to approve the August 3rd, 2017 minutes as read, but for the typo.
There was a meet.
Meets METES at the bottom of page 1.
Second.
So Doyle, Morris. Councilman Morris,
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle,
Yes.
and Supervisor Prodi.
Yes. Public comment? No. Town board comments?
I'll just mention that I really, I forgot to say this at the it wasn't on the agenda for the CAC, but we, as a CAC, we were very, very proud of the work that Arlene Giuliano did in getting that Pomeroy Foundation grant to erect a beautiful iron historical marker. And I forgot to say thank you to Stan. Stan, thank you for installing it beautifully right at the intersection of South Amenia Road and Kent Road in front of the church, the South Amenia Presbyterian Church. So if you have a chance to drive by, just notice it. It's really great. It talks a little bit, it alerts people to the fact that the Nook was near there along the Weebatuck Creek, actually very close to the Kent Hollow Mine and the apartments there at the bend in the creek that has been inhabited for, thousands and thousands of years by Native Americans, and was that whole area in South Amenia was littered with artifacts, Native American artifacts, that Ken Hoadley had collected over his lifetime. Going when a field was plowed, he'd go out and find an incredible collection, and some of that collection, his collection, I believe the best parts of it went to the New York State Museum in Albany. That's how important that history is to the state of New York and to American history. This is an important, very important thing where there was powwows of Native Americans that would come from all over the region at certain times of the year, and they met behind the South Amenia Church in that whole area. It was a really, really important gathering place for the Scatacokes and other tribes that gathered there. So anyway, thank you, Arlene. She is tireless. She apparently writes articles every week for the Millerton News. So if you want to learn more about Amenia's history in small doses, she is busy she works on behalf of the town of Amenia tirelessly. So thank you, Arlene. Thank you, Stan. That's it for me.
Is there any other town board comments? A motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, 8:41. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.